Good morning, everybody. Hi, it's good to see you. Welcome to West Hills Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We're so glad that you're here. My name is Scott Winters, and my pronouns are he and him. And it is my privilege, along with Wade McJacobs, to be helping present our service for today. And I am so grateful that we have our summertime where we can be lay-led for a while, which is always so fun and interesting that we can create services. We welcome you, whether you're here in person or online or watching at a later time on our YouTube channel. We are glad you're here. Perhaps you're enjoying the cool summer mornings that we're having, and perhaps some of you are also looking forward to some more heat possibly coming in September. Whatever you're feeling. No, not that, no. I'm getting a good read on where you are this morning. No more heat. You are welcome here, no matter how you feel about the weather and all that you're experiencing in your life right now, whatever that might be, what you're feeling, what your life is bringing you, what's happening in the world right now. You're welcome regardless of who you love, how you identify your gender. You're welcome no matter the amount of money that you have, your immigration status, or your housing situation. You're welcome whether your heart and life are vibrant and full of joy this morning, or if you're grieving a significant loss, if you're feeling pain, and you're really glad not to be alone this morning. We welcome you into this beloved community of care and conscience and compassion. And we especially want to welcome you if you're here for the first or second time. We're really glad that you're here, and we invite you to fill out one of our welcome forms, which you can find if you scan the QR code on the chair in front of you. It will download that for you, and you're welcome to fill that out. And you'll be added to our e-blast that comes every week, and you can learn about all the things we're doing as a community, and it's really awesome, all the things that we do here at WHUUF. For our online viewers, we have an online coffee hour after our service today, where you can socialize and share about the service. And there's a link in your order of service that was sent out this morning. And for those of us here, there is a coffee hour downstairs after the service where we're going to be inviting some conversation this morning, and you'll learn about that a little bit later on in the service. We also have seating downstairs for those of you up here that might want to transition to move downstairs if you feel restless or need to move around or have a conversation. Another announcement is that WHUUF is working towards a capital campaign to increase our capacity of our buildings. Our theme is Growing Our Forest Home. WHUUF's priorities, based on your input, are to increase accessibility, provide more space in the sanctuary, the coffee room, and the lobby, and to improve our AV systems. So today, after the service, we invite you to visit the Capital Campaign table in the coffee room, where you can learn about what's happening and the possible building plans, and you can see the timeline that they've laid out. And they'll be there, the committee will be there to help answer any questions. And they wanted to make sure that we're all reminded that we are all needed to support this campaign to join in growing our forest home. Today's service that Wade and I have put together will also feature a little panel, and you can see 3 chairs up here this morning, and our panel members are Kim Transier, Joyce Porter, and Tom Parker, and we're so grateful for their participation this morning. And so to accommodate the time that we need for our service, we'll be having a private Joys and Concerns time, which you've noticed probably when you came in the lobby, that the bowl of water and the stones are there for you to use. And that gives us a little bit more time in the service to cover our topic today. And so we invite you to participate as you feel called in our ritual after the service as you leave. And Wade now has some words of welcome.
Hi, my name is... Wow. My name is Wade McJacobs. I use he and him. I've never had to say that before. And the tough decision I had today was whether to wear my hat or not. And but my wife convinced me that it's kind of my signature piece. So here I am. I wanted to make sure that everyone has a colored piece of paper. If you do not have a colored piece of paper and a 4x6 card, hold your hand up and someone will bring that to you. You'll need it for your homework. I'm a teacher, so that's the language I use. If you end up without a colored piece of paper, that's okay too. Then you become the sixth color. It's always good to have an other column, right? Okay. We have just a couple more to hand out, but I'm going to go ahead. I would like, instead of greeting your neighbor as we do sometimes, you'll save that for later. I just want you to hold your piece of colored paper up. And obviously, if you don't have one, then you're holding up an empty hand. And now just look around and look at someone who has the same color that you do. And notice, this isn't a time to talk now, people. Notice that you have something in common with that person. So one aspect of that person is the same as you, and yet you are also very different. And that's the topic for our service today. For you, that may be true. So we're going to stand and do a hymn.
Three parts, please. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. This section.
You may be seated. I'd like to invite Paisley to now come forward to light our chalice. We light our chalice flame as a symbol of being united in our differences in background and belief. We hope for a world that honors difference. We unite in community with gratitude for difference. As we search for justice, meaning, and purpose, may we remember that justice, meaning, and purpose live first in deeply listening to one another. Let us say our opening affirmation. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful and what is wondrous. Let us open our minds to learn what is true and what is mysterious. Let us open our hearts to love ourselves and our neighbors.
Our reading this morning comes from the Obama Foundation. Practicing pluralism, especially when working with people who hold views that are diametrically opposed to your own, can be difficult. Showing up to complex discussions with an open mind requires each of us to check in with ourselves from an honest space. Before tackling a difficult topic, ask yourself if you are ready to receive opposing viewpoints. Ask yourself if you are in the right frame of mind to hear things you may not want to hear. The answer may be no, and that's okay. Whether you're from a marginalized community or a traditionally privileged community, you have to do your own work because institutions are made up of people with cultural beliefs and values, said founding director of the Selma Center for Nonviolence, Truth and Reconciliation, Annika Jackson. We cannot have systemic change and transformation if we don't do our personal work. And so every day, we have to dig into the harmful, dominant cultural characteristics that block us from being in relationship with others. Building pluralism requires empathy and grace, both to others and to yourself. As we work on forging connections with others, it is critical that we recognize our vulnerability and needs, our own blind spots and pain points. In doing so, we are able to come to the table with a sense of openness and humility, ready to listen, learn, and grow. This act of self-awareness not only lowers our defenses, but also creates space for real engagement and mutual understanding.
Thank you, Wade. This is the time in our service when we reflect on the blessings and gifts that we've received in this life. And today, I'm feeling grateful to be in a community where pluralism is one of our core values, and where we can have these conversations about differences that helps us to get to know ourselves and each other more deeply. There are many ways to extend our gratitude for life and this community by participating here at WHUUF, from offering your presence, your kindness, your energy, your time, financial resources. Together, we help create a special place where we can bring our whole selves and our differences to journey together. And we also like to provide opportunities to extend our gratitude to the broader community outside our walls. And today is Donate the Basket Sunday. This quarter, we'll be donating our offering once a month to Family Promise of Greater Washington County. Their mission is to equip families and vulnerable communities to end the cycle of homelessness. Their vision is that every family has a stable place to call home and the chance to build a better future. Family Promise helps local communities coordinate their compassion to address the root causes of family homelessness. They address the issue holistically, providing prevention services before families reach crisis, shelter and case management when they become homeless, and stabilization programs once they have secured housing to ensure that they can remain independent. They tap existing local resources to empower families towards economic stability. Families come to them in crisis. They help them rebuild their lives with new skills and ongoing support. I'm really glad that we have chosen this organization to partner with. Today, your gifts, when shared with the spirit of love and gratitude, help to nurture our hearts and then to extend compassion for this community and all that they serve. Know that we are grateful for your offerings. The hosts may now come forward for our offering. Thank you so much for your offerings this morning. Will you join me in our affirmation of gratitude and giving? Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
So it's time for all ages portion of our service. So anyone who would like to come up to the front row here, have a seat on the floor, or I guess over here. No, I'm getting the signal we're sitting on the front row here, but anyone wants to come forward for the story, you're welcome to do that. The story today is called Acceptance is My Superpower. It's part of a series written by Alicia, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, Ortego. And she has several books about our various superpowers. Today is acceptance is our superpower. She wrote this book to all of the children of the world. It is written for you, so you can learn to love yourself and accept everyone around you. The world would be a boring place if we are all the same. Let's celebrate our differences and never again feel shame. Hi, my name is Lisa. I am 7 years old, and I'm really rather quiet and not very bold. My hobbies include singing. I love to sing aloud, only in my bedroom. Never. Through every single playtime and all through my classes, he teased me and made me cry because I wear glasses. I want to be like others, I cried to Mom that night. She held me in her arms and squeezed me very tight. I know you, dear, my little love, but let me try and explain. If everyone were the same in the world, it would really be plain. Height, height, skin, or hair color, or even glasses on our face. We all have our differences, making the world an interesting place. I'd never even thought of it that way. What Mom said was true. Then Dad came in and with fruit and showed me something too. Here I have a banana and an apple red and ripe. I know you love your fruit, but which is your favorite type? Neither, I said to Dad. I love them both the same. Even though they're different, said Dad. I understood the game. We all have our differences, Mom said. It's what makes us so unique, from the way we look and think to the languages we speak. Even Dad is different from us with no hair on his head. But instead of loving him less, I love him more instead. Okay. What about our Uncle Jimmy? Our Uncle Jimmy, the one with curly hair. He's also different because of his wheelchair. That's right, my dad said. He can't walk at all. But that didn't stop him from winning gold in wheelchair basketball. I then started thinking about all the people I knew. The thing we have in common is we're all different too. My grandma speaks through sign language with the help of her hands, but she never lets her deafness ruin any of her plans. My friend Betty, who is adopted, and all my friends the best, she says, I'm glad my new family chose me. I feel so very blessed. To accept each other's differences, Dad said, is called diversity. It means we must treat everyone with respect and courtesy. Our differences are many, making the world a better place. I'm now proud of my glasses that sit on my little face. With them, I know I see better and have a different view. They help me read my music, which makes me sing better too. Diversity is acceptance of all our different ways. If everyone understood that, we'd all have better days. Some people like to swim, and others love to run. Some people love the winter, and others enjoy the sun. Our differences are many, from our clothes down to our looks, from the subjects we love at school, and even our favorite books. Now I have this knowledge, it wouldn't be very fair to keep it to myself and with my friends not share. The next day, when Lucas saw me, he came up to me and said, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. Can we be friends instead? I appreciated his apology, so to Lucas I did say, you really hurt my feelings when you teased me yesterday. I'm proud to wear my glasses. They are a part of me. It's important that you know that they are there to help me see. I'm really very sorry, he said. I didn't mean to make you sad. Thank you for talking to me. Your friendship makes me glad. So down we sat at playtime, and I told him all my news of diversity and acceptance and the behavior we can choose. Just like all the petals on all the different flowers, diversity is beautiful and gives us superpowers. Please join me and Lucas. Spread the word to all you know. Acceptance is our superpower, and together we will grow.
So shall we stand and form arches, and the children can go to their classes?
As you take your seat, settle into that seat. Feel how the chair supports you. Take a deep breath in and out. In and out. As a thought crosses through your landscape, notice it and then let it go. Breathe in, breathe out. Another thought. What am I going to have for lunch? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Well, Wade.
Hey, Scott.
Wade and I were having coffee one Saturday morning, and Martha was there too. And we started having a conversation, and we started talking about differences. Do you remember that, Wade?
I do very well, and it reminded me of interesting things about my past with Unitarian Universalism.
And it reminded me of my past of growing up in a fundamentalist Christian church, and how we had a lot of doctrine and a lot of things we had to believe, and how different that is in being UU.
Very much so, and I thought one of the things that I really appreciate about UU and about WHUUF in particular is I feel like this is a place where you can have conversation with people about how you're different from those people.
And that it's welcome here. So we thought, you know what? Let's see if maybe we could do a service about this.
Well, we do honor diversity, but I also remember from my past that I realized there are some things that we don't talk about so readily. And I remember when I was a kid, I grew up with a comedian named George Carlin. Some of you probably know. Some of you younger folks may not. But George Carlin had this routine about the 7 words you cannot say on television. And in our conversation, it occurred to me the 7 words that you cannot say at a UU gathering.
You know, and that of course got me thinking, like, ooh, what are those words? You know, what are the words that make us feel uncomfortable when we gather as a community? And particularly spiritual, religious words that we may express privately, you know, in our own home or with the people that we're closest to, but can we talk about them here?
You just used the S word and the R word in the same sentence. I remember as a kid, I grew up thinking that gosh darn, although the other version of that was not allowed, it was a bad word. And I, as a kid, came to understand that it was a bad word, not because of the darn part. And I avoided using the God part for years because I thought it was not allowed. I grew up in a UU church. I thought, what is this?
So we thought, you know, we started talking with many of you and decided this was a topic we should bring. So this is what we decided to bring today.
And I'm glad we have some people who are willing to have that conversation.
Yes.
So we'd like to invite our panelists up. We have Tom Parker and Joyce Porter and Kim Transier. And we're going to ask them to, as they answer the first question, we're going to ask them a series of questions. As they answer the first question, we're going to also ask them to introduce how long they've been at WHUUF and how long they've been involved in UU communities. So the first question that we have for them is, we often describe ourselves as a beloved community that welcomes differences. From your experience, what helps us to stay connected across the differences?
Well, I guess I'm on the far right here, so I'll start. I'm Tom, and I've been a UU for just about 30 years, the vast majority of it in Texas, in Houston. And life gradually took me back to the West Coast and did about 2 or 3 years as a UU in Palo Alto, and been up here for just under a year at WHUUF. And as far as the first question, the first thing that occurred to me was it's important to have a willingness to listen. I don't have to like what somebody else is saying. I don't have to agree with it, but just hear it. See where it takes me. And if I really listen to somebody else, I'll be in a better position to intelligently challenge what they're saying, if that seems appropriate. But around here, so far anyway, I have not really had that experience. I think politically we're largely on the same page, and any differences are likely to be more of a personal nature, having to do with policy or procedure or budgets or just personality differences. So that's what came to my mind on question number one. I'll hand it over to one of my colleagues here.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Porter. I've been a UU adjacent since 1979. So I'll let you do the math on that. And I was pleased to sign the book here at WHUUF 2 Sundays ago. I've been coming to WHUUF for about a year. I think what connects us is our common values, which is common in very many world religions, and how we covenant to engage with each other. We make agreements on how we're going to talk to each other, how we're going to engage each other. I'm an old school UU, and so I still rely on the principle of the worth and dignity of every human being. And most of the people, I believe, who walk through these doors are seeking something different and intentional that transcends differences. I like to think that what keeps us connected is that we make the attempt, sometimes unsuccessfully, to walk the talk. And I think that's what keeps us connected here as WHUUF, our common values and our desire to have something a little bit different than the typical.
I'm Kim Transier. I've been at WHUUF for 20 years, and my exposure to UUism before that was negligible, so I'm kind of the mirror image of you. I raised my daughter here. I've been on lots of committees. I've been on the board. I've been in the choir. We say when people come here, they're always at first delighted to find like-minded people, and that phrase comes up a lot. And then they notice that you think you're surrounded by like-minded people, and you are enough that you feel safe, but the closer you look, nobody is really just like anybody else, of course. And so you inevitably discover differences, and what helps us stay connected across our differences, besides listening and shared values, I would say is doggedly continuing to show up. Mm-hmm. That has been the most valuable thing about WHUUF for me, is that I get to keep practicing.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I forgot something. The little 4x6 card that you were given is for you to take notes. Because at the end of our discussion, you're going to be given a little assignment. So the card is for your notes. Or for Gary, he can use his phone.
All right. Our next question for our panel. How do you work with your own discomfort when engaging with people whose views or experiences differ from your own, both within and beyond our community?
Well, as I thought about that, that's a rare occurrence for me. I usually don't find myself or put myself in situations where strong disagreement is likely to occur. And I think my discomfort stems from being somewhat conflict averse. And at times I think I have a lack of confidence in my ability to hold my own or articulate my position in the face of somebody else who's more of a political wonk, and they're savvy and they have all kinds of facts and figures and anecdotes they could bring to the fore, and I'm not sure I can match that. But it's nevertheless helpful for me to remind myself that conflict is part of who we are. Think of every book you've read, every TV show you've seen, every movie. There's some element of conflict. Without conflict, you don't have a story. Without conflict, you don't have life in a way. So sometimes it's a thing to be embraced.
So I've chosen to live in the dominant culture since I left college in '75, and I've moved out of state about 11 or 12 times. So I no longer feel discomfort. I got over that a long time ago. That would really been a problem living the life that I lead to feel uncomfortable. But since I am used to being in different settings, and I also identify as a UU Christian, so that definitely is something that you can't see that's obvious, but it's just something that's different about me. But I try to lead with curiosity when someone is different than me. Tell me more. And I also try to acknowledge that they're not alone, that many people feel this way. I don't want to make them feel isolated or make them feel defensive, so I try to invite them to share what their beliefs are. You know, I think most of us really deep down inside, we just want to be seen. We just want to be heard. And so by allowing that to happen, having been on the other side of that, it makes it easy to be around other people who are different than me. So this was a tough question. I no longer feel discomfort, but I understand for many people it can be.
I'm more like Tom. I don't feel discomfort because I've gotten very efficient at fleeing from such situations where I might. But that, again, is the beautiful thing about WHUUF, is that you can flee and come back. In fact, you have to come back. And there's always next Sunday. And you're always going to see that person again. I mean, I guess I could give myself some credit for courage in that you don't literally have to see the person again. You could actually avoid them forever. The congregation's not that small. But you always have a chance to talk to someone again. If the first time you just clammed up and didn't speak your truth because you weren't sure how, which is what usually happens to me, try again another time. Try again in a different setting. And so, and the beautiful thing about WHUUF is that you see people. So about, I was really struck by what you said about curiosity and how, as a teacher, curiosity and fear are the opposite of each other. And like if a student in a classroom is intimidated by anything about the environment, they're gonna shut down and not be able to take things in because they don't feel the curiosity, they feel defensive. You use that word too. And so if you're feeling defensive, you're not gonna be able to listen. And so something that's really valuable about beloved community is that you don't feel fear, or if you do, you have time to get over it, and then you don't feel fear. And so you can be curious.
Wow, thank you. The next question is, can you think of a time when encountering a different perspective caused you to question or reconsider your own perspective? What helped you stay open to that possibility?
Okay. It's a little thinking about this one, but I remember about 15 years ago, I was living in Houston, Texas at the time, and I like to listen to Rush Limbaugh on occasion, just to kind of see how the other half lives. And this one day, Rush was making the point that one of the arguments advanced by the pro-choice movement is that we should not tell a woman what she can or cannot do with her body. And Rush's response to that was to say, hey, look, we routinely tell women what they can or cannot do with their bodies. We tell a woman she can't use her body to commit murder. She can't use her body to rob a bank. She can't use her body for prostitution. So telling a woman she can't use her body to have an abortion is one of many things we tell a woman, so get over it. And when I first heard that, I thought, well, gosh, that kind of makes sense. I didn't want it to make sense, but it kind of did. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, hey, wait a minute. Those other things that Rush was talking about, murder, armed robbery, prostitution, those apply as much to men as they do to women, whereas only a woman can get pregnant. And where it comes down for me is I have a hard time telling someone to do something I'm unable or unwilling to do myself. So thank you, Rush, for helping me sort of clarify and solidify my position. And it's also, I think it's important to acknowledge the possibility that my adversary might be at least partially right. and that my own position is not necessarily flawless. So it helps to have a little objectivity in that part too. So that was my take on that question.
Okay, here goes. So I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee in the 50s and the 60s, and in Tennessee, unless you were a military, tattoos were not a good thing. There was judgment about tattoos and the people who had tattoos. And so growing up like that, I just had the same feeling about tattoos. And then one day, my teenage daughter, then teenager, she's now an adult, had a meltdown because her mother wouldn't let her get a tattoo. And so I started asking her, why is this so important to you? Why do you want this? And what I learned is that tattoos are expressions of love, of self, of art, of interest, and of many different things that my closed mind just could not see. And since that time, over a decade ago, I have really enjoyed many of your tattoos. I've had great discussions with others, even strangers, about their tattoos. And now I feel free to look at someone and raise the issue. Tell me about that. But like most things, you know, it's easy, I learned, to judge from the outside in. You know, when you're looking from the outside in, you have plenty of opinions and plenty to say. But when you look at it as an insider, whether that means attending a church, for me it meant reading the Bible twice, or for my granddaughter it meant explaining to her grandmother why this is so important to her. So it opened my world, and I no longer hide my face when I see your tattoos. So please share them with me.
This question was really hard for me, in that I was appalled to discover that I could not think of a single example of having been persuaded by somebody of something. And I realized all the times that I've changed my mind about something, it's been just sort of an accumulation of evidence from various things that various people have said, but it's never, I'm in an argument with somebody and they won it, and so I changed my mind. And so my example of encountering a different perspective that caused me to question or reconsider my own, a really clear, though trivial example, is a longtime, very close friend of mine became a zealous convert to a paleo diet, and we were together in the grocery store, and he referred to the aisle where the Cheerios and English muffins were. He called it the poison aisle. And that was the aisle where I was actually shopping at the time. But fast forward a few years, I don't follow the same diet he does, but I cut way, way, way back on carbohydrates. And it was partly because of what he said, but he despite all his zeal, which made it memorable, he wasn't actually trying to persuade me. And I think that's actually that was a reason why he succeeded. Mm-hmm. He was just being himself, pretty loudly. But he would have been that way anyway. We weren't in an argument, so I didn't feel defensive. So that was the takeaway for me, is that you're going to be most persuasive when you're not trying to be. You're just being yourself.
The final question for today, and this is where you really want to make sure you're ready to take notes. Final question is, what question about dialoguing and differences within community would you like members of the congregation to ask each other during the coffee break?
Alrighty, well, my question for you to consider is, are we largely a social, cultural, political echo chamber here, or are there substantial differences of opinion in those areas that can and should be discussed? All right, take two. Are we a echo chamber here with regard to social, cultural, and political issues, or are there substantial differences in those areas that can and should be discussed?
My question is there a topic where you can see both sides that you've struggled with for years?
Mine was going to be similar to yours. Like, how would you generalize what WHUUF culture is, and is there a way that you feel you don't fit into it, whatever it is? And I thought it would be interesting if, two people are like, everybody at WHUUF is like this except me. And first of all, it would be fun if it turns out that you have that weird thing in common. But it would also be weird if you each have two totally different ideas about what everybody at WHUUF is like, which is possible. So that was one idea. If that's too similar to what Tom just said, my other idea is, if you have a tattoo, what is it of and why? And if you don't, what would it be if you had one? And where, yeah.
Okay, now what do you do with that? Hold your colored piece of paper up, and your task during the coffee break is to find someone of the same color and have a conversation with them regarding the questions that the three panelists offered. Again, if you do not have a color, then your task may be more difficult because you have to find somebody who doesn't have a color. That's the sixth color. That you can have however many people in your group as you like. It's your coffee hour. This is just the assignment.
And if you have any questions about that, you can come up to the front after the service and talk to us, and we'll provide any more clarification. Thank you so much to our panel today. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you.
I really appreciated your thoughtfulness that you put into all of your responses, and for having the courage to come and speak so openly and candidly with us. I really think that having more open conversations about difference can be really healthy for our community. And next week, we're going to be having the Right Relations team talking about conflict. And so it sort of dovetails in similar conversations between these 2 weeks. So I hope you can join us for that one as well. So our benediction today is from Reverend Dr. Sherry Prudhomme. We affirm the power of love to heal what is broken, to hold us together across pluralities of differences in religious practices and beliefs, to hold us when things fall apart, to grow our capacities and to guide us as we return again and again in our families and communities to the side of love. We extinguish this flame, but not the courage and compassion of our faith. May they stay with you until we meet again. So I invite you now to stand, and the front can face the back, and we'll sing Carry the Flame together. Carry the